Hello, hello Virgo. Welcome to your April 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Virgo. And while I pull these oracle cards, take a deep breath into the diaphragm. Notice anything that wants to come up today. If there's some specific information that you like, go ahead and set your intention for that now. And I'm going to lay these cards out, then we will get into the reading. Okay, I am going to start with a mindfulness card. And for you guys, I'm getting curiosity and joy as wanting to come up. So let's see. This one wants to come up. Enjoy the ordinary. One of the reasons we're so willingly and easily distracted is that we're not very good at dealing with the ordinary. It's boring, so we let our minds wander off to find something interesting. But boredom is often a signal of calm mixed with restlessness. If we let go of the restlessness and appreciate the stillness of the moment, there is enjoyment to be found in the ordinary. Next time you're feeling bored, sit with the feeling for a few minutes and enjoy the quiet calm of the moment. Okay, so I'm also getting that, like, making simple pleasures fun and enjoyable. Like, how can you make cleaning your house fun? How can you make your morning routine fun? How can you make getting your kids' lunches ready fun? Like, try to find little pockets of enjoyment and pleasure out of little mundane tasks. And I feel like Virgo already has that, but maybe this month you're going to be craving something like wild and crazy or some extreme variety, but start to integrate more of that appreciation into the day-to-day moments. And then the animal card for you is Crow. Really intuitive month. I'm already getting like a lot of information for you is going to be coming through, which is odd because this is, you know, primarily Aries season. So I think there's still an extension of the intuitive experiences that you may have had during Pisces season kind of shifting into April as well, where you're getting a lot of those downloads and perhaps even confronting some of that shadow stuff that we don't always like to look at. And then the word of the month is friction. Receive the gift in the conflict. Empathize with an opposing viewpoint. Remember that when rough surfaces rub together enough, the final result is smoother. Friction and conflict is the way that you problem solve and the way that you actually get things done and make things happen. So don't knock it. Friction is so needed. The central energy for you is the Five of Wands. Yep, this is that friction card. It's what are you building? How can you use the conflict and perhaps not feeling like things are going completely smooth and using that to grow and challenge yourself. Now let me see what the crossing energy is with this. We have the Eight of Swords, and I think the friction is coming from a lack of vision. If you can't see exactly what's coming next or what it is that is bubbling to the surface, it can be really hard to problem solve, to put it lightly. Because it's like, well, what are you building? What are you problem solving? What are you creating? And so you're going to have to find a way. We're going to see with the rest of the reading how this really blends together. But for now, I think that's where the friction is going to come from. How do I build when I can't see forward? And that's going to be the question that you're going to be asking this month. What you have shifting out in April is the Knight of Coins. Let me clarify this. I'm not sure if this is a person, but let's see. Ace of Wands. No, this actually looks like the energy that you were giving to work or giving to projects, perhaps some reservations that you had, or you may have been holding yourself back in a lot of ways, because the Knight of Coins hides behind his work. That's one of the issues, is if too much energy is going into over-functioning, then it causes problems if you're not getting results immediately. And it's kind of like if you're pouring all of your energy into one area of your life and it's so unbalanced, there's like nothing else to catch you anywhere else. So you want to try to even that out by maybe pouring a little bit more energy into other things as well, so that you can experience pleasure from all sides. And if one thing is like experiencing that friction, you're able to problem solve while still being supported by all the other areas you're giving energy to. So that's what this looks like to me. And then the oncoming energy for you is the Four of Wands. So this is stability, happy home, healthy, pleasure-based, groundedness is what I would say. So the Four of Wands is about bringing things together and really finding that there's a lot of alignment shining through here. I think it just goes back to focusing on feeling. You might be looking a little bit too far out, or focusing on what's going on in the external a little bit too much, and that's tripping you up here. It looks like you want to bring it back center, focus on what it is that's going on in your body. Do things feel good? Do things feel bad? Are you expanding? Are you contracting? Start focusing on that, because it's going to give you clues as to what you need to adjust. That's where the friction comes in, because any pain points that you have anywhere in your life is giving you information on what adjustments you need to make. So notice that so that you can get this Four of Wands. The outward manifestation is the Chariot, feeling a little reckless or discombobulated, kind of like maybe you're moving in a direction that you're completely uncertain of and confused by. But the Chariot it's getting to where it needs to go quickly. It just doesn't feel completely stable. And you might have a little bit of that push and pull, the ebb and flow along the way. So be okay with that this month. I think rather than focusing on perfection or things going perfectly immediately, you can put your sights on just being mindful throughout the process. And then in the subconscious, we have the Ace of Wands making an appearance again. So it's like you have the energy, just make sure you're not pouring it exclusively into work projects or like tasking, right? You don't want to clean your house 6 hours a day every day, right? Then if anything gets messy, it's gonna feel like death. That's why you want to balance out where you're putting your energy a little bit. Like it doesn't need to be equal percentages. It just needs to be a little bit more distributed. So that could also be what helps smooth out the Chariot as well, is not putting quite so much pressure on one area of your life. Try to balance that out a little bit more. In the advice position, King of Cups, be honest with your emotions, be honest with how you're feeling. It's super easy to judge yourself when it comes to your emotions, and to just focus on what you think you should be doing. But I promise you, this is not a good month to do that. If something doesn't feel good, own it. If something isn't working for you, own it. Like you just have to acknowledge whatever it is that's coming up in order for you to get to where you need to go. In order for you to get that Four of Wands and feel into being grounded. The Eight of Swords is where you have a place of an expectation for how something needs to look. And, you know, if it doesn't go that way, you're kind of creating more problems for yourself when you don't need to be. It's okay to just acknowledge what's happening in present time for your own well-being, for your own sanity. Okay, now in the external influences, Ace of Swords. So are you executing on an idea that you have? Because I'm getting that this is a lot of inspiration, ideas, and information coming through. Like I said, with this intuitive crow card happening right here, The Ace of Swords is that aha, oh, this is what I need to do. Oh, this is my next step. Oh, this is that other thing I wanted to invest in. Don't sell yourself short this month. I think that ideas are worth exploring and they're going to be abundant. And if you don't know what your next step is right this moment, that's okay, because it's coming in April. That's what the Ace of Swords also represents, is clarity over your next move, over your next step, over whatever it is you're looking for. Hopes and fears, Ten of Cups. Of course, we all want to experience the Ten of Cups. Happy, happy, joy, joy, celebration, having a good time, enjoying yourself, easy breezy. And I promise you that if you maybe make a request of easier lessons or more of a gentle way of receiving this information, this becomes more accessible. And remember, finding joy in the ordinary is where you can access this at all times. And so it's not far-fetched, but I also know for some of you, you might be feeling like, oh, the Ten of Cups is simply too good to be true, or there's no way that can happen. I've seen a few comments recently, particularly on my YouTube videos, where people say, oh, there's no way this can happen. And the problem with that, when you say, oh, it's impossible, or no, that can never happen, or no, it's simply not going to happen for me. Maybe that happens for other people, but it doesn't happen for me. The universe is going to respond with, okay, all right. It's going to prove you right. Like, that's why you want to speak in the affirmative. And that's where your beliefs really start to transform, is you're speaking things into existence, whether it be good or bad. So you decide what it is that you're wanting to cultivate and create. And if you have a negative thought, don't worry about it. You can just choose again. Now, the outcome of April is the Six of Coins. I think you're being met with reciprocal energy, reciprocal investment, reciprocal payoff for the work that you've put in. And it just looks like you're really starting to see some things pay off for you. Like, I'm just getting that a lot of things are rolling in, whether it be money, whether it be health in a relationship. I'm going to clarify the Six of Coins. Three of Coins, yeah, so whatever you've been working on, that's the big thing. I think if you've been frustrated with like spinning your wheels in the mud, or giving a whole bunch of effort and not having anything pay off, the Three of Coins is saying, hey, all of this work that you've been doing is actually leading to some reciprocation. I think you just need to be patient, focus on what it is that feels good, and start moving in a direction. When it comes to you, you don't need to figure it out immediately. Sometimes you want to sit in an incubation chamber for a little bit. But when that comes about, I think you're really going to see some things pick up. Things are going really well. I'm just getting that you're going to be able to, you're going to figure out what your next step is or what your next move is. It's just not something you can force. It's something that you're going to call in. All right, now we're getting into the timeline. So right now I'm looking at the first quarter of April. It's about a week-ish. The Lovers. All right, so this represents one of two things: romantic relationship or choice. So perhaps you're making a decision about something big at the beginning of the month. For those of you that are focused on calling in partnership, it would be a good time to figure out what it is that your manifestation is outlining, what it is that you're calling in, what it is that you're experiencing. The person could pop up at this point. You know, this isn't a love reading, so I'm not going to unpack that completely, but it's more about whatever it is that you're using this decision energy for, to either recalibrate, align yourself with the manifestation for the partner that you're calling in, or it's about figuring out your next steps, or just using this weekish, this first quarter, to sit with yourself, contemplate some things. Don't overthink it. You know, that's not the way to go about it, but just kind of, you know, sit with some different ideas and check in with yourself, see how it feels. You don't need to make a decision right away. Don't put pressure on yourself to make decisions right away. It's just something worth exploring. Quarter 2, Page of Cups, emotional honesty. Check in. This is very similar to the King of Cups, but this is also that childlike innocence that we all want to have access to as adults because things just go better, in all honesty, when you're being emotionally honest with yourself and with others. Being seen is one of the greatest ways to have healing experiences with others. So Page of Cups reminding you to do that. Don't ignore your emotions, even if you do figure out your next step by the time the first quarter pops up. Quarter 3, we have the Four of Swords. Do you need a break? Do you need to rest? Do you need to relax? Is that something that you haven't been doing? Is that something you need to make a little bit more time for? You know, what's coming up for you when I say rest or recharge? So just pay attention to that. Your intuitive hit on that is correct. Whatever it is that's coming up, like the first thing that came to mind. So you're definitely going to want to dig into that as of the third quarter. And you also could have swung the pendulum all the way into work mode again, or tasking mode. And so you want to make sure you balance that out a little bit and refill your cup. And wrapping up the month, we have the Queen of Coins. So I think you're feeling more like yourself by the end of April. That's when you start to get into Taurus season. So the sun moves into an earth sign again. And I think you're really starting to feel like yourself more by the end of the month. You're still like figuring it out and trying to identify what it is that you're feeling and how you're going to move forward. That's what's going on in the first half of the month. And then you're able to really dig in and feel into your ability to stay grounded. And it just looks like you're back in your element. So able to get things done and make things happen really easily. And you might even figure out by the end of April what it is that you want to do consistently, like something that you can actually build regularly. All right, 3-card pick. You guys know the drill. You're welcome to ask a question. You can ask for guidance. This is an oracle deck, not a tarot deck. So you can pick a card if one's calling to you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, card number 1. Body as a house. Man, oh man, this is a Virgo card if I've ever seen one. You can look at your vessel, your body, as like really the way you access home base. So I think there's a lot of expectation and pressure put on external things, making you feel grounded, but that's really something you have to find within yourself. And you want to make sure that you're keeping your house neat and tidy. You want to make sure you're keeping your house well maintained and taken care of. And so you want to treat your body the same way as you're walking through all of this. So figure out how to manage or balance that for yourself this month. Card number 2, ripe fruits. Ripe for the picking. It looks like things are really, either you have an abundance of opportunities or an abundance of connections, because I'm getting a lot of things are like ripe for you to take action on whenever they make an appearance. So if there's something you've been asking for and it makes an appearance, like jump on it. If there's an opportunity for you, or this is also if you asked a yes or no question, this would be a yes. But this just looks like you kind of have everything at your fingertips. So make sure you're capitalizing on any bursts of energy that you have this month and figuring out how to nab all of this fruit. And then card number 3, we have Rainbow Bridge. So even if you don't know exactly how you're going to get through something, you want to trust the net that does appear when you have enough faith and trust and belief that something will catch you. That's one of the biggest things with taking risks, is there's massive payoff, and there's also, I don't even want to say there's potential for failure. It's more of, do you believe that there's a net? That's ultimately the difference between taking a risk that works out and taking a risk that might cause a little bit more friction. So trust the net, you know, and if you can't imagine one, try to imagine what that net would be, what it would represent, what it would do for you. At the bare minimum, what is it that you're needing for the situation to be okay? And when you start to think about, oh, in reality, I would be okay with just this 20% of that thing happening, then you're good to go. It's like you can imagine things progressing in a way that you want it to. It's just about feeling into that energy so that it can make an appearance. All right, my friends, that is all that I have for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this reading as much as I've enjoyed reading for you. Don't forget, if you want to work with me one-on-one, lots of options for that, so you can check them out in the description box. And if you're looking to get the love and relationship readings, those are on Patreon, so you can check that out too. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Onyx Healing. And until next time, have a beautiful April, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.